All right, everybody. Welcome to RPR. So this is your first week, I think, as far as getting to do audio stuff. I know you guys did the Core 4, so English and math and psych and so forth. But I guess many of you probably very excited to get to your first time to get to play around with some audio. Exactly what you're here for. All right, well, let me first go through a few things as far as how we run the class. This will help you be able to get through the class easily. If you guys haven't used the FSO platform too much, I believe you should have used it quite a bit with the other classes, but nevertheless, we'll go through it. Every single week we have everything in almost like folders, so you just click on it, it opens up and expands and shows you everything assignment-wise. You'll notice the first one isn't really called a week. It's the very beginning, and it's just essential stuff. We explain as far as the deadlines and late submission policies. Most of you probably should have already gone through these. You go through them and read them. It just, basically it just explains everything, and then you could just hit complete afterwards. Don't worry. No, if you missed the due date or whatever, you could view it any time. It stays pretty much open the whole time. The due date is nothing, doesn't hurt your grade whatsoever. As you guys can see, if you're ever curious as to what the weight or grade of you might get on this thing, it'll be posted along with whatever the assignment is. So for instance, this one is 0 weight. So no matter what you get on this, because it auto grades it automatically, you don't have to worry, it's not going to hurt your grade. Project submissions and FSO issues. This one's actually pretty informative. It walks you through all the different things. Quite often you're going to be uploading logic sessions, and for whatever reason FSO doesn't like the logic format, so what we ask you guys to do is to compress it, and this explains how to physically compress a file. It's pretty simple. You could just select any file. It could be anything. And if I hit Control, then click, you'll see right here is compress. Once you release it, it actually physically compresses it. It makes a zip file of it. It usually pops up right next to it. Right now it popped up on my other screen. But there you can see it'll be named exactly the same, except it has a .zip afterwards. So this just walks you through that. Also explains if for whatever reason you have problems with uploading any assignment or everything, you could call FSO support or email them. They usually get back to you right away and will help you with the actual uploading of the assignment. The other thing is last resort or whatever. There is something called Dropbox. If you haven't heard of it, here's a link right here. It is totally free, and this link will give you, I believe it's 10 gigabytes of space where you could upload. It works great for anything that you guys might need to transfer that's very large in size, or it's either 10 or 100. I think it's 100 gigabytes. Well, nevertheless, Dropbox is actually quite useful. Even if you don't use it in this class, you might want it, if you still sign up, you'll still use it for your friends and so forth. You could easily send them a link, and what happens is they are able to download a very large file. Unlike, you can't just email something that's 100 gigabytes or 100 megabytes or anything. So that link right there will help you as far as getting Dropbox for free. The other thing is that if you do run into other problems, let's say with not so much software, but the audio software, not installation, that will be FSO support, but if you're running problems in the software or any technical problems, let's say you don't get sound out of your microphone, for whatever reason your headphones don't get audio or so forth, there are an actual tech line, an audio tech line that we have running, and it runs from 5 to 9 p.m. And if you need to contact your instructor, you could reach them from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So in other words, you have pretty much the capability of accessing us, whether it's the tech helplines for anything technical that's happening with your system that you're running. And as you saw, it was a go-to meeting link. Just click on that. Like right now, it is 6 o'clock here, so it's running right now. If you needed help with any technical stuff, you could have just logged on to that go-to meeting. Someone is there helping you guys out. The next one you see is roll call. Roll call is basically just to help me or the instructor to know that you're here as part of the class. That way I make sure that you're on my mailing list. If anything I need to send out, any changes or anything that happens with anything. So the roll call is just, all you have to do is hit complete. You can read through it, hit complete, and that just tells me that yes, you are part of my class and not just an accident as far as in the roster. The next thing you guys will see is important first day getting started with Logic. Now, question I always get is, are we using Pro Tools? No, not yet. You will be using Pro Tools in a later class. Right now, you're going to start off with Logic. All we need to do is to make sure you have Logic installed. There is a article here that is for Logic installation. Now, if you don't have Logic already loaded, and you haven't gotten an email from FSO support, contact them immediately because they have the download code for you. You know, don't go to the Apple Store and try to download it because they'll try to charge you. What it'll have you do is they give you a download code, and then you go to the Apple Store, enter in the download code, and you will get Logic, you know, because it's already paid for you. So if you haven't gotten Logic yet, definitely contact FSO support immediately. They will be able to give you the code. I don't even have the codes, unfortunately, so I can't even help you there. That's strictly with FSO support. Once you've downloaded Logic and set it up, you will have two features that Logic gives you, is that you could have advanced tools and just standard tools. We want you to run in advanced tools. If you see these wooden edges on Logic, when you open it up, it's basically telling you that you're not in the advanced mode. It's almost running like a GarageBand, more or less. It doesn't have as many features. You have a lot more features when you enter in the advanced mode. I'm going to go ahead and open up Logic. Let's just grab Create New. Now, you guys should be able to see I have no wood sides. The way I could change that, because well, I'm already in the advanced mode, but where you do that is right here. So it's under Logic, Preferences, Advanced Tools. Once you release, you'll get this window that pops up, and this little check mark right here is what changes it. You'll notice that I unchecked it, and now I have the wood sides I was talking about. So what we want you to do is, once you've loaded Logic, to definitely go over here and show Advanced Tools. These tools are going to give you a lot more features, and we're now becoming audio professionals. We'll definitely need these tools. Okay, let me just, yeah, I'll just close that. Don't need to save. This walks you through that, you know, just in case you didn't get that. Now, there is something else with Logic, which is Logic comes with this huge library. And it's sounds and effects and all kinds of different things. Definitely download it, take advantage of it. But I will forewarn you, the way you do it is under Logic, you'll see sound libraries, and you could download all the essential sounds, or download everything that you can. Why not? It's all for free. Since you have Logic, But what I was saying as far as forewarning you is that it's a very large download. It could take a while. So if you don't have very fast internet or something, remember, just kind of start it. Maybe, you know, leave it running overnight. That way it downloads everything for you. I believe it's something like 50 gigs of information. So you guys will have plenty of sounds, plenty of effects, plugins, and everything. We don't require it for this class, but hey, why not use it? You know, take advantage of it. You'll see there's quite a few different things. You're actually able to check to see what things you have downloaded, and also every once in a while Logic will update and give you new free stuff. In fact, here, I'll show you where that is. Under Logic, we go right here to Sound Library, download all available sounds, or you can open up the Sound Manager, and as you can see, it looks like I've got everything already installed. But if you see something that says available or uninstalled, you can go ahead and install that, giving you even more sounds. All right. The next thing, after making sure you have Logic, is setting up your audio interface and microphone. Now, I actually teach basically 2 classes online. One is the MPBS and audio production certificate, as well as also the audio production bachelor's degree. Depending on which course you're actually taking, you're going to get a different interface and a few different things. So you could download for the interface that you have. You might have the 2i4 generation 2, or you might have the Focusrite Scarlett 18i20. Now, let's see, which one do I have downloaded? Actually, neither. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and download one of these. Just click on it, it downloads. Now, one other thing is I programmed this in something called Flash. Now, because I programmed it, and it's not something you downloaded from Apple, Apple doesn't like anything that has been programmed, or a program that has not been done and put up on the Apple Store. It's mainly, they're doing it for your protection, but they make it kind of difficult for you to just easily click on it. So, just to make sure, you could download this Flash player. All right, it's free. It's from Adobe. That's the people who actually designed the program called Flash. And what you're gonna have to do is hold down Control, click on it, hit Open. Once you do that, now for me it's gonna open because I've already done it. But once you do that, it'll pop up saying, "Hey, this basically saying." This didn't come from the Apple Store, and you shouldn't open it. But when you do it this way, where you're telling it to open, you should also pop up with an extra little button saying, basically open. You're telling it to go ahead and open anyways. I trust this program; it's safe. If you just double click on it, it will show up with that same message, but it will not have that open button. It's something kind of sneaky that Apple does. But once you've done this, you've got the Flash player, you're able to physically do this. Open up the actual guide. It's interactive. That's why I did it in Flash. In other words, you can click on it. It walks you around, shows you stuff. It could even play audio if I wanted to, different things. But what it does is here, it's going to walk you through the installation and how to use that interface. So for instance, you read what it does, and notice I drew the interface. This is what the 2i4 looks like. If you just move over any of the knobs or connectors, you're able to see what everything is. You'll see it just highlights it down below. You could also see, well, I want to see where the MIDI LED is. Move over the MIDI LED, and you'll notice up above, that yellow square pops up and shows you exactly where that MIDI LED is. This is both for the front as well as also the back. This should help you at least understand what each one of these different little connections are on the back, for instance. The next thing, what about logic? Well, we got to interface logic with that interface. So this walks you through that, how to set it up. Okay, well, headphones. We're going to hook up headphones here to the front. You'll have a volume knob for the headphones, as well as also a volume knob feeding your monitors if you have speakers set up. If you have speakers, they're going to be hooked up to these two. You'll see in the next page it shows you how to do that. But you also have extra inputs, as well as these two are inputs. We'll be using especially this input here on the front. As you could see, it literally walks you through. You could cross over words, go to system preferences. This is, for instance, if you want to use your interface to play YouTube videos. You want to make it so it plays through your sound system. You can actually do that kind of stuff. Also, the audio MIDI guide, how to set that up as well. So I've tried to think of everything and put it all in here. As you can see, even in Logic, telling you how to set up Logic, making sure that your inputs and outputs are routed to that actual interface. You can see I did it step by step. And then here's the final as far as how to record, for instance, your microphone, where to hook it up, your headphones. If you have speakers, this is where they would be set up. You would have your USB connected to the USB hub that came from in the launch box that you guys got with the laptop, and then from the hub it gets connected to the laptop. I always get the question, well, I've got the USB cable, but it doesn't want to plug into my computer. You guys actually have something called, you have the newest computers, so they have USB-C. You're going to need the interface is actually a standard USB 2. So what the hub does for you is it gives you the capability of hooking up all standard USB units, interfaces, anything that might be USB. This is why you get the hub as well as the computer. It's all sent to you and you're able to hook it all up. If you're missing anything that I've been mentioning so far, definitely FSO support will help you out as to get you whatever you're missing. I know I've had one or two emails. I guess some people had their mic stand missing, and I know that FSO support's trying to get more mic stands to send out to you guys, and they should be out pretty soon. Luckily, the mic stand is probably the least important piece. It's not like you're actually missing the interface, so you should still be able to record and so forth. Now, I drew up some other pictures to show you. Let's open these guys up. Here is what the 18i20 looks like, and here is the input. Now, this cable connector that you see is called an XLR. The XLR has 3 pins. It's called a balanced type audio connection. A lot of people just call this a mic cable, but it can be used for other than mics. It can actually be used for professional audio, or what they call +4 audio. The interface, as you guys can see, has knobs here. These are all volume or input volumes. They actually will turn up the mic pre for you, and then you have some little LEDs that display as far as levels coming in, and headphones over here. Your microphone, just in case you have never had a microphone on your own or whatever, basically, as you can see, this is the other side of the XLR. This is what they call the female side. The other side that you just saw was the male side. You're just plugging in that XLR cable right to your microphone. Depending on which package you got, you have 2 different types of mics. One look like this, or it's handheld. The other one, you almost have to use the stand because it's a condenser mic that's really shouldn't be handled by hand. You get a lot of the noise from when you're handling it. Meanwhile, this style is actually designed to be held by hand. That's a dynamic microphone. Come on, there we go. Now this, on the front of your interface, you actually have this weird connector. that connector is a combo jack. That gives you both the capability of using the what they call 1/4 inch TS, so either a balanced or unbalanced type 1/4 inch connector, or that XLR. They both will interface with that combo jack. It can handle either one of them. So I want to point that out for you guys. So for instance, while you're using your microphone, you might be plugging in with an XLR, but then the next day you come in and a guitarist comes over and he wants to record into your system. Well, then he would have a TS type 1/4 inch. You'd be able to plug it in and still use that same jack and interface to record the guitar. And then the next day somebody brings in a something that has balanced audio out, and you want to plug into the interface. You can actually use a 1/4 inch TRS. So that combo jack gives you a lot of flexibility. XLRs, you can extend XLRs too. You could just plug in the female side to the male side, and if you have, let's say, a 10-foot XLR and you need longer XLR, you could always get another XLR, plug it in, let's say add a 20-foot. Now you have 30 feet of cable, and whatever length you're needing, you could actually add to that type of connector, which is pretty cool. Alright guys, so that's with the interface. Remember, there are 2 interfaces. Depending on which class you have, you'll get slightly different equipment, and it's got to do with what you're learning as far as the course that you chose. Next thing, well, this one's actually pretty self-explanatory. You're here, so you probably already set this up. This is the weekly live training link. This is how you can actually get the link for whenever I do these classes, which is every Tuesday. I have them every Tuesday at 6 o'clock, and I'm here for you guys. My main thing is I walk you through what the assignment for that week will be, and also I open up quite a bit the mics for you guys to ask questions. And it could be about the assignments or something that just got triggered in your mind, like, well, so you mean you could do this and you have another question about it? No problem, just ask away. Sometimes I actually do mute the mics so that way I could get through the actual lecture, but then I'll open up the mics for you guys to be able to ask questions live. You could also type into the chat, and I try to check that every once in a while to make sure that I'm not missing your questions. But you have 2 different ways of communicating with me. The archive, the next thing. Now the archive basically is, as I record these videos, like I said, I actually record these videos and then I post them for you guys to be able to go back and view them again if you wish to refresh your memory, or just to be able to view what the lesson was for that week if you had unfortunately had to work or something during the time period that I'm actually giving it on that Tuesday. As you can see, there's already open spots. As soon as I finish this lecture here and I've edited it, I will be posting it, and it'll end up right here for week 1's recording live session. You will notice I actually leave quite often past months of the archives. This is so that, for instance, I know I was military, and I have quite a few friends who are also military. Sometimes we just know that, oh, I'm not going to be there the second week because we have exercises, so I want to work ahead a little bit. That way I don't get bogged down. So I've actually left all of last week's assignment descriptions and so forth. You can also use them to get a different view or get different questions asked that you might have. So you have the videos that you could watch from last month's weeks. So as you guys can see, week 2, week 1 is there. I have quite a few past classes that I've left uploaded for you guys. That is all in the archives. So I recommend probably the archives are probably the most important thing for you guys as far as for the assignments. If you have any question, and you want to check it out really quick, go to the archive. You will notice also I put a short little viewing YouTube videos. This is for you guys who haven't used YouTube too much. If you simply just click on this, I'm going to pause it.
Hello, everybody.
Okay. Once you get started, it starts playing, but notice it's a smaller window. So let's say I want to actually see it in a larger window. If I go watch it on YouTube itself, I actually have a lot more features. At that point, I can also view it at faster speeds or even slower speeds. You're able to bounce around much easier throughout the video, because sometimes I want the explanation of the second assignment for that week. Well, I start off with the first assignment, then I go to the second assignment, so basically you could bounce over to that second assignment instead of having you sit there and watch 20, 30 minutes of me explaining the first assignment, which you've already done. So it just explains a little bit about how to use YouTube and how it could be useful for you. The next thing you'll see is Safari Books online recommendation. Safari Books is something that FULLSAIL has kind of set up for you guys. It's free to FULLSAIL students, and you're able to actually go and check out different books. It's kind of like an expanded part of our library. Our library has quite a few things on it as well. You could go through the FSO platform, go see the library, go check out books, do all kinds of stuff. But Safari Books are also other books that are out there, and here are two recommended books that we give to you guys that help you get more information on the subject matter. No, how to get to Safari, let me explain. Right here you actually should have like a picture of yourself or something, but if you click on that, you'll see that's where your account information is, that's where your logout, your email, your direct connection to connect your stuff. But under resources, notice you actually have student manual, the library, so this is how you could access the library as well, and then Safari Books. Safari Books has a huge long list of different books that you guys can check out, as well as also videos. Same thing with lynda.com. We've got quite a few videos up on lynda.com that you could actually view, and I will point you towards some of the lynda.com videos for some of the lessons to help you, give you more information and really understand what we're trying to, teach you as far as that concept. So that's that. Next, you'll see recommended links. This one's actually pretty self-explanatory. It's just extra stuff that over time I keep adding to it that I find, oh, this is great. I'd really like for you guys to learn about this. It's extra information. It's not required for the class, but it's definitely very helpful. Like, for instance, room acoustics. There's software. I point you towards some free software. Optimizing your listening room. This is a video that I found very informative, and it actually is correct. I like to go watch these things beforehand. That way I make sure that they're giving you correct information. Nothing worse than, there are many YouTube videos out there that aren't correct. They're just basically just talking and trying to get people to watch. So you'll be able to point towards these and you'll know that they actually are correct. We've verified that everything that they're saying in them is correct as far as documentation and so forth. Also, there are some interactive guides. These are some more flash things I've done. Like if you've ever wondered how vocoders work, I put together something for vocoders, explaining vocoders, how audio patch bays work. Right here, the Mellotron, the Fender Rhodes, the Leslie, the Wurlitzer time piano. All these are just kind of informative, and they're fun to play around with just to learn more information. Okay, as you can see, that's basically everything in the essentials. Then afterwards, you'll see the next thing is open group discussion. The open group discussion is for you guys. The purpose of this is for you to be able to communicate back and forth with your other students, with your colleagues. So if you have a song or something you want to share with somebody, this is where you post it. If you need some help, let's say, hey, is there anybody else in Texas? I've got this gig this weekend, and just happens to be we need one more hand or something like that. You can post it on here. If anybody nearby you're able to communicate with each other. I always try to get you guys to talk to each other. Online sometimes could be where it's a little different. You don't get to really make friends, but why not? Let's your class, as you guys continue through in Full Sail, these connections that you could make, you just never know. I know I've had friends of mine that when I went to school, I actually went through Full Sail back in 1990, and we communicated, and that networking has definitely helped me in my career. I've also sent a lot of people to, hey, I remember, for instance, I actually owned my own studios and everything, and another Full Sail student, he came over, did some interning over at my studios, ended up working for me, and through connections, I found out that Mary J. Blige needed a MIDI keyboard tech, and Alec, who worked for me, I told him, here's your chance. This is something you've always wanted to do, and told him about it. So I made that connection. He ended up working for Mary J. Blige for quite a few years, touring around with her. So you just never know. Connections can really help you out. So that's part of the reason why we had this open group discussion. Now, one thing is, I don't always jump on here and check to see if there's any questions on here. So if you have any questions to do with anything, with the assignments, or you're having an interface problems or anything, don't post it up here. Just send it directly to me or contact FSL support. That way, I will get back to you and answer you. Every once in a while, maybe I jump on here, and I can try to post stuff to help you guys out. But nevertheless, don't count on this as being the way to communicate with me. Definitely just email me directly right through the platform, and I'll get the question much quicker than if you were to post it up here.